So many achievements since then, but let's talk about the recent achievements.
Yeah.
You've been listed on the Forbes 30 under 30 Africa. That's
Correct.
a lot of people's wish list, including myself,
Yeah.
if I can say. But such an honor. How did you feel being realizing that you were recognized for the work that you're doing in the community, and now you're listed?
It's such a big thing.
Yeah.
But funny thing is, I didn't really know this value when this thing started.
Welcome back to another interesting episode. You are watching The Campus Life, and my name is Talifhani Tshitwamulomoni. Well, we are still celebrating Youth Month, and as you can remember, 48 years ago, not we, because I was not there, of course, but the youth of 1976 were protesting against the sacrifices and, of course, the oppressive Bantu education. And I can say that today we are seeing some of the results because of the youth of today are doing something with their power. And today I'm joined by someone who is amazing and someone who is definitely using their power to make a difference and change in society. Ladies and gentlemen, the one and only Talifhani Tshitwamulomoni. I hope I said that correctly.
That was beautiful. I'm happy.
Thank you.
I'm happy.
Thank you so much for joining us today. And ladies and gentlemen, you might be wondering, who is this? Why is he here on my black couch? Listen, he was listed on the Forbes 30 under 30 Africa last year. You can imagine, right? He's also a founder and executive chairman of a universal greening organization, doing big things in South Africa, and not just South Africa, actually global. And a lot to talk about because he's always living in his traffic suitcase, traveling all the world and making a difference in society. Welcome.
Thank you so much. It's
Thank
a
you
pleasure
for
to be
joining
here
me.
today.
Thank you for joining me.
Thank you.
Listen, I'm going to ask you a question. You're wearing all black. What is the inspiration today?
So this is my suit.
Okay.
I always wear something similar to this. If it's
Okay.
not black, it's brown. If
Okay.
it's not brown, it's white.
Green,
it was
maybe?
inspired by, not really.
Okay.
This was inspired by my great-grandfather, who was an army general.
Yeah.
So when I wear this suit, I always evoke his spirit.
Oh, wow.
I always want to be General Matekwe.
Yeah. Okay, tell me about your background. You've already made reference to your grandfather, but tell me about who you are. How was it growing up in Venda and so forth?
So my name is Talifhani Tshitwamulomoni. I am the third child. There's my brother, my sister, me, then my younger brother. And I was born and bred at Venda, at a small village called Tatevondo, which is just 35 kilometers away from Thohoyandou. And when we growing up there, it's such a nice place. There is a lot of good environmental things that we can admire every day. I think I remember we grew up going to the mountain, eating from the mountain.
What were you eating from the mountain?
The fruits from,
okay.
from indigenous trees.
Okay.
So there is those trees that have got fruits. So
Marula. Okay.
Those ones. Yeah. So, and I went to Chanoa Primary School, which is just at the very same village where I was born, did my school there, then went to Rupai Secondary School, where I did my secondary then. Yeah, I think that's basically who I am. And I studied environmental science at the University of Venda.
Yeah. So when you were in high school, I'm sure you were getting a lot of questions about what do you want to become when you grow up? What do you want to study? So what was your answer?
So I think when I was growing up, I used to talk a lot.
Yeah.
So I always thought I want to do LLB. So LLB has always been my thing because I thought I'd put very strong arguments, So and it inspired me for the longest time until I realized that maybe I'm not meant to be,
So when you got to university, what happened there?
So when I got to university, I had applied to study LLB as my first choice at the University of Venda.
Yeah.
And my second choice was geology because I always wanted to say, if I can't do LLB, I must explore the world. And then, unfortunately, LLB was full, and geology, I didn't meet minimum requirements. They wanted 60 for maths and 60 for science. I only had 54 and 53. So I ended up doing environmental science, which is the next thing from geology.
Yeah.
And that's where the journey started.
So I guess it was not really something that you were passionate about going into varsity, but you found yourself in the studies. How was the years like studying environmental science?
So I adapt very quick.
Yeah.
So I think when I did environmental science, I was also inspired from home. I've got my uncle who did environmental science. His wife did environmental science.
Okay.
And the firstborn at home did environmental science. So it was not really far from the family line. And I just felt like there is already a blueprint. We already see what they're doing. So it will be easy for me to also get employment.
Yeah.
And I think that was one biggest thing to say. When I'm falling, I must not fall far from what has been established already.
Yeah.
Only to find out that I don't need that employment when the years were moving along.
Okay, speaking about not finding employment, then what happened? What did you do? Did you get hired somewhere? Or did you start something of your own?
Yeah, so when I was doing my second year,
Yeah.
I started the organization called the Universal Greening Organization.
Okay.
And the reason we started it was mainly because when I was sitting in class, we would see that a lot of our lecturers come, they give us theoretical work. They don't expose us to the practicals. So I realized that there's a gap there. We need to create something that will take students to the communities to implement what they learn in class. But also we realized that we are sitting in class, we do not know what's happening in the sector. There are a lot of changes, there are a lot of policy direction that we do not know. So we need to start something that will assist us to get mentors from the sector, but also to get people to come and show us what's happening. But also I was worried that the research that the university was doing stays in the library. So we thought it would be good to convert this research into grassroots community development programs. So those were three driving factors that made me to start the Universal Greening Organization. And we had students affiliating to our organization. I remember then we had a membership form, so it was 30 Rand.
Oh, wow.
So you if you want to be part of our organization, you'll have to pay 30 Rand. And then it was a year a fee. So we had, the university then had around 12,000 students, and we had around 3.5 affiliated to our organization at its peak, which is like quarter of the university. And that gave us a lot of audience, but also even institution outside and companies started to listen to us and wanted to work with us to an extent where I remember 2017, the late minister, Edna Molewa, may her soul rest in peace, called us to say, we want to have breakfast with you. We want to understand what you're doing as the Universal Greening Organization. And 2018, when she was launching the Good Green Deeds program, she invited us to Eastern Cape. She paid our flight, she paid our accommodation. And when we went there, she took us, put us on the podium. These are our young people from University of Venda who are doing so well, and we are happy to have them here. And that gave us a lot of mileage because a lot of private companies started looking for us, started working with us. And the university as well started to realize that there is something strong here. And they started to give us a lot of attention. I remember when we started, we had School of Environmental Science. We would go there and ask for resources. But later on, the VC of the university said, this organization must be in my office. It must move from just being a student organization to be a university wing. And now we want it not to be for School of Environmental Science only, but for all the university students so that they can go out and learn this. I remember the university had allocated a budget for us to now run this organization. We would have transport available, we would have a lot of resources that we wanted. I remember first trip that we did, we went to a village called Tswera. We went there with 3 university buses. And for me, the biggest thing was like, look how people are happy to see the university coming to their village. And they responded very well. We did a lot of cleaning campaigns there. We did awareness to the community about climate change. And that's how the journey started to where I am today.
Wow. So now the UGO, is it now part of the university as we speak?
So what we have done was that there must be the university chapter.
Okay.
Because remember, we started it.
Yeah.
As much as the university is appreciating the work we do, we had the vision. And when we were leaving the university, we couldn't leave the vision with the university. So we have got a universal greening organization that is operating outside, but we have got student movement at the University of Venda. So it's still continuing with whatever that we were doing. A good thing now is the student movement is not just supported by the University of Venda. We are also now supporting it from outside in terms of resource, because we are growing. We have got other things that we can contribute to the students, and now it becomes easy because we are mentors now ourselves.
Yeah.
So whatever we wanted to achieve when we were still students, we are actually doing it now, because we mentor those students. We share with them the opportunities that we have outside here, and we also assist them to do grassroots programs through volunteering programs where we create space for them to go and learn how to present whatever they've learned, how to convert the theory to practicals, but also they get space to grow and become better. When they graduate, they already know what's happening in the sector. They already know who they to associate with, because they've been working with them throughout their student journey.
Oh, wow. Yeah. So I'm quite interested. Second year student starting a massive thing.
Yeah.
And you were charging people 30 rand for membership fee.
Yeah.
But for that entrepreneurial mind, I'm quite curious, where was the 30 rand going? What were you doing with the money?
You don't want to know.
What were you doing
You
with
don't
the
want
money?
to
Were you
know
buying t-shirts?
so we also had t-shirts,
Yeah.
but they were for sale.
Okay.
So it was not for free.
Okay.
You know. Would sell, I think our t-shirts were golf shirts. They were around 180.
Okay.
So even I remember the lecturers at Univen as well. They also bought the t-shirts.
Really? Wow.
The people from the municipality, Tulamela municipality, Wembe district, Limpopo economic development, all our partners, they would say, they'll place order, and we would go and do these t-shirts. We deliver to them, they will buy. But for us, the money was mainly to assist us with the administration. So good thing that I still remember is the university will cover the basic things. Like if we want to go out to a village, the university will pay for transport. And so you'll have to print a lot of material that you'll distribute with the school, with the communities. So you will use that money for that. But the other biggest thing that we'll do with that money, we used to do a lot of functions for our members. So we'll take that money to say, let's go to Kruger National Park, just for the members of the organization. Let's go and celebrate.
Oh, the
We'll
achievement.
issue the certificates every year.
Wow.
So if you were a member throughout the year and you participated in our programs, so we'll keep the record throughout the year.
Yeah.
And come financial year end, we'll then issue a certificate to show that you participated.
Yeah.
We'll do some braai. And when we wanted to travel outside what the university could sponsor, would use that money to do that. So it was more of sustainability. We said, how do we sustain our organization? But I think good thing was, it was not my first initiative.
Yeah.
At 19, I had started a cooperative, which was lucky then, and we got funded close to $500,000. So when I did the Universal Greening Organization, it was actually the second initiative. So I had already learned a little bit of tricks on how to be an entrepreneur and how to work around money.
I see. I like that. I like that a lot. But now the big question is, where is UGO now? What is it doing in our communities?
So UGO is an entity that is assisting a lot in terms of community development, because what we have done is we have positioned ourselves to be the voice of community, but also to share information with regards to climate change. You'd see what is happening in KZN, your Nelson Mandela Bay, those floods that are happening there. Lots of life are being lost there, infrastructure and all that. So with the knowledge that we have positioned ourselves to be an entity that has around 15 people now who are working there every day, who assist in terms of community engagement programs, where we go and teach them, raise awareness about climate change, raise awareness about food security. So we also assist in terms of training. So we are accredited by AgriSeta to offer agricultural training, where we train young people to become farmers, but also entrepreneurs, because to be a farmer is not to be an entrepreneur. A farmer will do the planting production, but an entrepreneur must then maximize in terms of product into converting it, adding value to become something that will generate revenue. So we assist them to do that. We are also implementing programs, grassroots community development programs. Like currently there is a program we're implementing in Masisi. It's one of the village towards Niani. So it's a program that has been funded by the United Nations Development Program, where we are assisting the community to understand the human-wildlife conflict, because there's a challenge there where animals that comes from Kruger National Park, when they get out to the community, people tend to kill them. There's a lot of conflict between animals and people. So we try to teach them and educate them on how to behave in such instances, but also to protect their own environment, because that area, there is a lot of people who go there for some firewood. So we always teach them how to preserve their own environment, how can they plant more trees in their own communities. We are currently training young people in Taung as well. There's a lot of projects that we are doing. And besides just that, we are positioning ourselves to be an organization that becomes a global voice. And you won't believe that at the age of 20, we named this organization Universal Greening Organization, because we wanted to be a universal organization. So now, like I said, we're implementing program for the United Nations. We've been accredited by the United Nations Convention to Combat Desertification to be one of the observer organization. We'll be going to Saudi Arabia this December. Recently, just a few days back, we've been accredited by another UN body, which is CBD. Oh, wow. We'll be going to Colombia around October as well to participate in the global conversations that talks about sustainability and food security. I see. So the organization is alive and very strong now.
I see there's a lot of global reach, but before I actually go deeper into the global reach, I just want to maybe pose this question for you as a self-introspection for your organization.
Yes.
Right? In South Africa alone, with the provinces that we have, how many provinces have you made an impact in South Africa, before we even talk about global?
Yeah. So we've been in existence for the past 10 years.
Okay.
Right? So 10 years is really quite a long period for one to be in existence. So we've worked in Limpopo. Limpopo is actually our biggest stronghold, because I think that's where we come from. But besides just that, there is a lot of environmental challenges that we need to appreciate and be able to solve. Okay. Gauteng as well becomes our key province. We're actually training young people in Taung in Northwest as we speak.
Northwest.
So we've worked in KZN. We've got partners there. There's an organization that actually we inspired. Those young people in KZN reached out to us to say, we see your work, we want to work with you. And we assisted them to start their own organization. It's registered now. It's participating in a lot of activities. So KZN has also become one of the areas that we have footprint. And we are trying to get to Northwest. Northern Cape.
Okay.
We're not yet there, Northern Cape.
Western Cape?
We want to. Western Cape is a bit difficult, but we're trying to work around that, because there is a lot of issues in the marine life. And we want to try and go and do some cleaning program in the coast there. So I think we would say Limpopo, Gauteng, Northwest, KZN, which is currently a good number.
That's a good number, now,
in the next 2, 4, 5 weeks, we should get something in Mpumalanga.
Okay.
So there will be something coming from Mpumalanga as well.
Okay. Yeah. Making a footprint every single way you go.
It's important, because you need to solve these problems that people are experiencing, more especially in the rural communities. So people in rural communities are going through a lot. They need support. If you talk issues of food security, we assist them with gardens, where we assist them to do backyard gardens in their communities. Because when you go to Limpopo, for an example, the stand, when you go to Eastern Cape, they've got a lot of big land there. So you can assist them to convert that big land to do their own food, so that they get food from just the back of their house. So they will cut money to buy all those things and convert it to do other things. But besides that, they get nutritional food just at the back of their garden.
That's true. That's true. All right. Tell me about the relationship you have with South Korea. Is it South Korea?
Yeah. So I think from 2021, I was selected to go to South Korea to represent South Africa. So there is a program that when South Korea came out of their war with Japan, the president then is President Parks. He realized that the country was broken, infrastructure, the spirit and everything. So he decided to come with a model. It's called Samolundo, which means New Village Movement.
Okay.
So that village movement, what he did, that he bought cement, right, and just go distribute them to everyone. And he didn't tell them what to do with that. He just bought cement, distributed to everyone, and people came together and said, we've got this cement, what do we do? The road is broken, our bridge is not well. So let's take this, let's go get some sand, and let's build our own roads.
Okay.
Sally doesn't have a house due to the wars. Let's go build a house for her. That's what they did with that. And then President evaluated, and he picked those villages that were strong and advanced in terms of coming together. He added more resources. So that model grew, and it became the biggest thing in South Korea, where it has been then adopted by parliament as a rural development model. And because of that, it assisted South Korea, from just the country that is coming from war to be one of the leading countries in the world in terms of their GDPs. And that model, then they realized that it works. They need to now teach other countries as well. Okay. And that's where I came in, because I was selected as from my role in rural development. And I went there, we went to the villages to see what the villagers have done themselves in South Korea. And from then, I was then selected as the rep of South Africa.
Oh, wow.
Every single year I go to South Korea to go and report back, because after the first trip they came back, we introduced something. I developed a community development model called Shumani Future Village, which is exactly how the Koreans were doing it. But good thing about this one, I integrated 3 models. There's a model called asset-based community development, which was developed in Canada. There is the Samuel Undong model that was developed in South Korea. And there is the district development model that the president of the country, South Africa, has introduced. So I brought all those models together, and I created Shumani Future Village.
Wow.
And that model is being implemented. If you go to my village where I come from, we've hired around 60 young people who are building houses for people in my village, those who are in need. So they will go and start from making bricks. They will go and get the sand.
In my language, we say uforoma.
Yes, uforoma. Even in my language, it's uforoma. So they will go and foroma dinner.
Yeah.
So and they will make sure that they even take their own money.
Yeah.
They have 50 rands. They contribute. They go buy whatever that is required to assist that. And I think it's one thing that makes me feel to be part of the community, but also giving them space to create their own solutions, because that's what the model in South Korea was teaching us, to say community members must create their own solutions.
Wow.
So, and that's what we are doing. So every year I go there to report back on how we are doing. Actually, we've got a meeting just this Monday to report back as well on the progress we're doing in South Africa.
So many achievements from my knowledge, from since you were in second year.
First year. My first business, I was first year. Straight from high school, grade 12. I started the first business.
So many achievements since then, but let's talk about the recent achievements.
Yeah.
You've been listed on Forbes 30 under 30 Africa. That's
Correct.
a lot of people's wish list, including myself, if I can say. But such an honor. How did you feel being realizing that you were recognized for the work that you're doing in the community, and now you're listed?
It's such a big thing.
Yeah.
But funny thing is, I didn't really know this value when this thing started.
Yeah.
I remember I sat with someone who was like, Chief, you are on Forbes.
Yeah.
And you are just sitting here. You're not doing anything about it.
Like,
I was like, okay, what do you mean? What should I do?
Yeah.
But for me, it was more of, I do what I do because I love to impact the communities.
Yeah.
I want to change their lives, but I also want to make sure that the future generation does not suffer. So that's where I start. And when you get these recognitions, it's just a validation to say you're on the right path.
Yeah.
And since I was listed there on Forbes, I remember when this thing was announced, I don't know how many calls I received from the media houses wanting a lot of interviews. When I went back to the Wembe district,
Yeah.
from the mayor, everyone. They were like, hey, here is our young man.
Yeah.
I was the first actually from my district
Oh wow!
to be on Forbes. And
Congratulations!
it has opened a lot of ways for me now. There is a lot of corporates that says, we want to work with you. I mean, we have seen the work you've done. Forbes has profiled your work.
Yeah.
We want you to come and be part of what we're doing. Because we assist a lot of corporates with their
Yeah.
CSI, with their skills development and all that. So it has been interesting. And I think it's for young people to get inspired. I always tell people to say, you don't need to wait for you to start whatever you have in your mind until you get old. No, you can start if you have it now, it means it's ready. You don't need to wait for it to be fully developed and have a clear vision. If you think of something and you believe in it,
just
it means
go for it.
It's ready. Hit it.
Yeah.
It will get better with time.
So
Because that's how it works.
How's the future looking like? I'm so interested because there's been so much happening, so many good news, so many achievements. But now, in the next 5 years, where is UGO going? And where will we see you?
Yeah, I think we are positioning it now to be a global player, like I said. We have already started a partnership with the community in Botswana, so we've got a relationship. We want to branch out to Botswana. We're actually building that very soon. We've started programs. We want to have our offices there. There is a program we're doing in Lesotho. We have started other SADC engagements. So in the next 5 years, the organization should be at least in 10 countries in SADC. And it must be playing a very important role in addressing the Sustainable Development Goals. Because that's what we are positioning ourselves to be now. We want to respond and assist the United Nations to achieve their SDGs, because we believe that it's not theirs. It's for everyone to play their part. So next 5 years, 10 countries in SADC and, maybe some advisory role in UN.
I like it. But now, for someone who has a similar background like you, coming from a small village in Venda, a young man, a young lady who has goals, who has a vision, who has a dream like the one that you had, although it might not be clear. What do you have to say to them? I want you to look into that camera and tell them what you should.
So I think the most important thing is you are complete. You have got everything you need in yourself, and you just need to then activate it. We always say, just awaken the giant sleeping within. And you can do that by believing in yourself. You can do that by just challenging yourself. And that's what I've done. I enjoy new territories. I enjoy spaces where I don't have anyone, I don't know anyone, and where I've never been before. So I think challenge yourself. Believe that the one who gave you the vision will carry you through. And that's what I always do. I always say to my God, I'll be like, God, it won't look good on you if I fail on this one. And that's what keeps me going. I always say, remind God to say, God, it won't look good on you this one if I fail, because you gave me the vision. Now we're busy chasing the United Nations programs, and if we fail, we'll always remind God, what's happening? Why did you allow us to start if you're not going to carry us through? So a young person in South Africa or anywhere in the world, there is a whole lot of opportunities, unless if you start unlocking them yourself from just within, you won't see them.
Well, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you.
Truly appreciate it. I can't wait to see you on the advisory board on the United Nations somewhere. What?
Yeah, that's where we're going. That's where we're going.
Listen,
we want to be in that.
I'll be here for it, and I'll be celebrating. I'll be up with my vuvuzela. For those who still don't have it, I still have mine. But celebrating and making light noises. Thank you so much for joining me today. I truly appreciate it. It's just been an amazing episode, learning about the work that you do in our community and the lives that you're changing. This is what we are for.
No, I really appreciate it, and I look forward to do more. Not for the glory. I always say, strive to climb the mountain, so that you can see the world, not to be seen. And that's what I do. I'm striving to climb the mountain to see the world, not to be seen.
I like that. I'm going to also leave my motto: aspiring to inspire before I expire. Until I see you on the next episode, ladies and gentlemen, goodbye.